In this video, I'm going to discuss about React and also demonstrate how we can use React to develop front-end user interfaces. React is a JavaScript library which is mainly used for developing front-end UI for web and mobile applications, and it employs something called as single page applications, wherein the user experience has improves a lot because of reducing the number of server requests. In a typical request response model, every time a user interacts with his web application, there will be a request made to the server and server accordingly responds. Whereas in React, it follows something called as a single page application. The single page application minimizes the server request and thereby improve the user experience. So React follows something called as components, which are modular and reusable, and there are something called as functional components, which are something similar to a normal JavaScript functions, but they return something called as JavaScript JSX file, and this JSX file are the ones which are somewhat different to the traditional HTML, although the syntax wise they look similar, but there are some differences which we will see shortly. So it employs functional components to modularize the code, and also allows us to reuse the code and thereby improve the efficiency in the way we write the code in React. So today we will see some demonstrations on React, and I'll create a project in React and show you how we can simply create front-end applications using React, and later we will extend and see the more advanced topics in React and also learn web development. So first I'll be using Visual Studio Code here. So let me create a project. So I will be creating my project in the folder. So I'm creating here my React. So I'll create a folder called as my React app, and so in this folder, and I'll try to open this folder. So here I'm currently in the my React app folder. So just to see where the current Explorer lies, so I can click on Explorer. So this is where currently the folder is empty, that's why we are not seeing anything here. So in the same way, we can also open terminal by pressing on the terminal button here. So as you can see, we are in the currently in my React app, and currently this app is also empty. So you can just type ls and see that there is no files in this current directory. Now let us create a simple React application in this folder. So before that, we need to see if you want to run JavaScript inside a IDE, we need to have Node. So let's first see whether what sort of Node version do we have. So you can type Node and click on type -v just to see the version. So this is the Node version which I have in my laptop. If Node is not installed, you can type in Google and try to install Node in your computer. And now once we know that we have Node in our computer, we can create our first React app. So the command to create a React app is npx create -react -app space. You can name it as my first React app, or my first app, and you can press enter. It will create in the current folder, it will create a folder called as my first. So as you can see, it has installed our React app, and you can also see a folder here, my first app. There are few things which has to be discussed here. First is node underscore modules. So you can see a lot of libraries which are available, including the standard React libraries, which are all available here. So we also have public folder. This is where you have index.html. All of the code is finally dumped into this file, and thereby it executes. And we have src. This is where we write all our JavaScript files. All the components are written here, and from here it will directly send to index.html, and from there we get the output. So here we also have packages.json. This contains all the package information. Sometimes carrying this whole project, or copying or saving this whole project might be heavy in terms of memory. In such cases, we could eliminate this node underscore modules, and later by using npm install, you can install all the packages which are listed in this package.json. So now once we created this first React app and also understood these basic folders which are available in the React, so we will first experiment and see what sort of output it gives. So in order to see the output, the first command you need to run is npm run start. So we are not in the folder, so just type ls and enter into my first app, and then you can type the same command npm run start. Yeah, sometimes the AJV version errors we might get. In such cases, we need to install the latest version of AJV, which you can do by using this command npm install save the AJV @7. So we are trying to install the latest version. So sometimes we might not get this error. If we are getting this error, we need to install the latest version of AJV. So once we are done, you can rerun the code npm run start, and you will see an output. Something looks like this. This is the default output which React provides. So let's modify this code and see how things will change. So first thing which I would like to try is these are the things which are there. So let me just first quickly explain how these components are aligned. We have app.js. This is the code which got rendered, but this is being called by index.js, and all of these you can see here, this is a component, and we are calling the app component here inside the index. And this later, if you see, and this is the index.html file. See, we have in index.js, it is calling app, and app.js contains this. So let me first remove all of these and start from the scratch, so that we can understand the functional component more better. So in order to do that, let me first delete whole of this file. And there are some unnecessary files also in the beginning which we are not needed, so I'll also remove this. I'll remove this report web vitals and also setup tests which are not needed. I'll remove app test. So accordingly we should remove inside these also. So I am removing this and this which are not needed at this moment. You can save this file, and we have made this completely empty app.js. So there are some shortcuts through which we can write the code more efficiently. We have some extensions in Visual Studio Code which makes us to write our React code in a very simple way. One of them is simple React snippets. You can type this in and you can click on this and try to install this. I have already installed, so it is already existing. So what is the advantage of this? We can write the code little more quickly. For example, if I type sfc, which is a stateless function component, and press enter, it gives this default code to write a functional component. So I can name this component as app, and this is where I have to write my JSX template, which is similar to HTML with few differences. So let me write something like hello world here. So usually we write in a div component. So let me type div. And there is also another interesting shortcut which helps us to write much more quickly is Emmet. So if you go to here settings, and if you try to install an extension called as Emmet, and once you install that extension called Emmet, you can see that here, and you can edit edit as shown here. Something I'll show you where to edit. So you can just add an item and value, where JavaScript is the item and JavaScript React as the value. So once you add this also helps us in simplifying our way we write the code. So for example, if I type div dot and give a class name, say app or my app, something my app, and if I press enter, it automatically fills this. Here in JSX we don't call class, but we call it as class name, because class is already reserved in JavaScript. So here I just want to type a simple hello world and save this file. So this is the new app component which we created, and this app component is being called by index.js. So now let me save this file and let's see what sort of output it gives. So you can see here clearly the hello world. This is the output we got for the code which we have written, and there are a lot of things which we can do. For example, if you want to access some variable, you can write a JavaScript variable as something like, say, year, and you can call it as, say, 2025, and you can later call this hello world. This is year. In the flower brackets you can type as year, and you can save this and you can see the output. So that is what we are able to see. So in this way we can render whatever we want. We can render multiple functional components also. So we can render hyperlinks, various things, but usually we need to place the content inside this div. So now let us see how I can also create multiple components. For example, let me create a component called as navbar.js. So I'll once again type sfc and get the default code, and in this return I'll write my JSX. I'll simply use div dot say navbar as the some Emmet syntax, and I'll type it as simple navbar, and let me save this file, and now I'll import this inside into my app. So let me import this. So let me you can just copy it for the syntax, and just paste it here and change it to, instead of app, change it to navbar. Navbar. Okay, so there we exported it. Here we have exported the navbar, and we are trying to import the same here, and we did not use it. So let me use this here. I'll call this functional component as navbar, and close this, save this file, and just go and see. We are able to see this. In this way we can have multiple functional components also, so within this same file. So we will usually have a hierarchy of functional components, and we can call multiple times. We can reuse the same component multiple times. So in this way we React uses functional component and brings it out to a modular, makes it a modular code, so that we can reuse at multiple times.